Hey, it's Brian.
Hey, it's Barry.
And welcome to the Collecti-Bros podcast. On this episode, we are discussing a topic that is not near and dear to gamers and collectors' hearts. It is the backlog and management and how to deal with it. This is a topic that everybody deals with. That's a collector that has a huge library, and I think especially now in like the modern age of gaming, everybody's got a huge library now. And how do you pick what to play? What do you do? We're just gonna share some tools, some tips that we use, just kind of talk about the issue, because honestly, everybody deals with it in a different way. Everybody approaches this different ways, but we'll share you some of our experiences. And honestly, I found a lot of cool other ideas online that might not necessarily work for me, but maybe they work for you. But first, let me invite y'all to join us on social media. We are at Collecti-Bros Pod on all socials. We're really pushing YouTube, especially with the preeminent disbanding of TikTok, or banning, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's bullshit. But yeah, we're just let everybody know our content that we put on TikTok is archived in YouTube Shorts, right? So feel free to check that out. Also, please join our Discord. It's a great little community, small right now, of just gamers, like-minded gamers getting together. We're actually planning a gaming session coming up, so if you guys want to hang, talk some collections, show up your pickups, a lot of cool stuff in there. The invite for that is in the show notes of every episode we've ever done, ever. Well, since it's an off episode, we always talk about pickups and plays. Barry, would you pick up anything cool?
My pickups are just like non-existent right now, especially during this time of year. It's really difficult. So, and then, with the job change, you have to figure out like, okay, what have my finances turned into, so I suppose the only thing worth mentioning, I don't remember if I mentioned this one last time, but I got Hatsune Miku Logic Paint S for the Switch. Limited Run put that one out. It's supposed to be a Hatsune Miku puzzle game. And then I ordered Bastion from somebody on eBay. I don't know. It's been on my wish list for a long time, and I finally was like, you know what? I want this game. So I got it on the PS4. It is also a limited run release, because for the longest time, Bastion wasn't a physical copy.
I didn't know it was physical. When you put it in Discord, I was like, I had no idea.
And I guess, I don't know how true this is, or if this is like some mythical tale of some kind, but supposedly for the longest time, there was only one copy of this in existence, and it was the creators or whoever made a physical copy for someone in Afghanistan, and then shipped it off to them. So I don't know if that's true. If anybody knows information on that, let me know, because I've heard that down the grapevine. But before Limited Run, that was the only copy ever in existence, was
physical copy. Interesting.
Yeah, some guy who played it over in Afghanistan. Wild. So
I remember playing it on the 360 like when it came out, and I was like, hey, this is really cool. And then everyone else kind of realized it's a pretty cool, unique game. And
yeah, I put it in. It's one that I think I want to do like a smaller, short form on YouTube for, but I feel like it's not mentioned very often.
Foreshadowing. Ooh.
I know, right? Short form content. But I don't know. When games come up in conversation, I don't ever hear anyone talk about Bastion. Like, ever. I can't even remember the last conversation I had with someone without me mentioning it first.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I feel like it had its heyday in the 360. I think like the remake, remaster, whatever you want to call it, kind of left a sour taste. I know like the creator was on Twitter bitching about how it didn't sell enough, and basically it was like, you guys asked for it and here it is, now you need to buy it. I know that left kind of a bad taste in people's mouth.
The 360?
No, the original release was on 360, and they did the remaster, and they did digital on Xbox Series X and PS5, and they were kind of bitching that nobody bought it.
Because I have it on PC, and it doesn't mention it's a remaster of any kind.
Look, maybe I'm getting my games mixed up, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't think this game has ever had a remaster. It's always been the same game.
Yeah, I guess it's just a re-release. My bad. Slightly upscaled. Don't want to spread misinformation on this podcast.
Yeah, I was about to say, because this says it sold more than 500,000 copies, which 200,000 were on Xbox Live alone. It's okay. You just did 2 weeks of overtime, so maybe your brain scrambled.
Brain is just completely rotted.
That's okay. That's okay. I think it's just a game that deserves a little bit more, I don't know, recognition.
Well, especially the time it came out, nobody was really doing like this kind of game, especially for like a digital storefront. Like, it's got a weird place where it should be kind of like more revered in history. because it's kind of the trendsetter for like indie games having large scale releases on a storefront, you know, digital storefront.
Even then, just like the format of the game, like having a reactive narrator is such an interesting concept that like kind of blew me away the first time I played it. Like I've never played a game with a reactive narrator in the same sense, where it really felt like the narrator was speaking to me directly and the actions I was doing, like not as me just controlling something.
It's pretty cool.
So the reactive narrator thing is such an interesting thing that I don't really see in discussions or talked about. I can't even think of another game.
I'm trying to think of one, and I'm just like, I know there's another one out there.
I'm sure there's more out there, but I haven't experienced any reactive narrator type games similar to Bastion.
Right.
I'm sure there's some where, I don't know, you try to do something and it tells you like, oh, you can't do this, but the narrator in Bastion will make like side comments as you're playing, not just like, oh, you can't go there. It'll be like, oh, you made that decision for what?
Yeah.
He's kind of sarcastic and snarky at the same time, but like it's a great executed game for especially Supergiant's first game. So
Not a bad one to start with.
But that's really the only thing I've picked up. What about you?
I had a couple. I don't remember if I brought it up for the podcast last episode.
I know, I can't ever remember.
Especially, like I said, my brains are scrambled egg. I've worked 12 straight days, and it's just like, whatever. But it's over. Back to normal schedule. Hooray. Picked up Metal Gear Solid digital graphic novel for PSP. I had an incomplete copy forever without a book. And it's one I never see. Never wanted to pay full price for it, because when you do, it's like expensive. It's like $40 to $60 for a graphic novel, digital graphic novel, which... Not my thing. Is
that in the Legacy?
You know, I'm not sure.
The PS3 Legacy thing?
I think it might be, actually.
Okay.
I don't think it's in the newest version. The Switch.
The whatever
Xbox,
one that wasn't good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's in that version. But it's a cool little game. Not game. Digital comic. But like I said, I'm a huge Metal Gear fan. I wanted a complete copy. I got this thing for like half off. So I was like, okay, got to pull a super clean copy too.
It's cool because they don't make physical content for stuff like that anymore.
No.
Like, I don't... The digital comic format was so few and far between, but it was like kind of centralized in that area. And we don't have anything like that now.
What a cool idea for PSP would just try random shit like that. Like, God, hats off to PSP. Maybe we'll do a
digital comics are just freaking, extra download code papers.
Right.
You're lucky if it's a piece of paper in your case
sticker.
now. Yeah.
But no, I was super happy to get that. Love Metal Gear, and again, it's one I've been looking for a complete copy for. Which, yeah, I could have done the whole eBay thing. I try not to. Another one I picked up, EOC 3 Champions Edition. They're closing the servers down. I needed a copy. This gives you some like team packs and stuff. Like nothing special, whatever. Fuck Conor McGregor. Anyway, spent a little money on Black Friday just because I've been working so much overtime. Why the hell not? I picked up Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection. I thought this was 1 through 3 remastered. I didn't know it was 4 in the spin-off game.
Mm-hmm. It's everything. I've been eyeballing it. Yeah, I'm just too stingy to pay that one yet.
It's $20, so I was like, okay.
Oh yeah. Easy.
Black Friday deals. I did a little Black Friday.
Where did you get your Black Friday deal this year?
I did most of these in Best Buy. I think actually all of these.
Best Buy.
Yeah.
Because that was so dry this year. Well, it was bad.
I noticed things sold out quick. So there was games I wanted. Mm-hmm. Like I think they had Elden Ring for like the DLC for like $30, and I was like, oh, I'll get that. I keep hearing good things, and by the time I went to go check out, it was gone, sold out. It's like, ooh,
damn.
Yeah, but picked up Gundam Breaker 4, the launch edition. Love Gundam. That's really where most of my money went. This last couple.
Yeah.
Buying Gundams. If you want to turn this into a Gundam collecting podcast, I bought like, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 kits.
There's the one I got you at my house too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that all just from the one haul?
Yeah, that's all from the haul.
That's nine kits?
Yeah, not bad.
Is this one in a bag? Oh, those are markers.
Those are markers, yeah.
Okay.
Stocked up a little bit. Going a little crazy Gundam. Look, man, honestly, I wasn't playing games when I was working because I just couldn't focus or I knew I'd fall asleep. So we watched the original Gundam anime. Mm-hmm. Fell in love with it. I was like, dude, I remember it being good, but I don't remember being this good. Like,
I know. The second Brian started texting me about Gundam, I said, yeah. I'm like rubbing my little hands together like, finally.
Nah, bro, it's great. Maybe some more foreshadowing for things to come, non-video game related stuff, but like went a little crazy with Gundams. Like I've always been casually into Gundams because giant fighting robots are awesome. I don't think that's debatable. Yeah, really dove in deep with the kits. But yeah, Gundam Breaker 4 on PS5. I've been wanting to play it. I think it's a great idea, especially if you're into the Gundam kits, to have like a game where it's, build your own Gundam, mix and match parts. This one's supposed to be really good. I haven't played it yet, obviously, just because I have this huge stack now. Prudent for today's episode. Also, I picked up Neo Collection, the remasters for PS5. I've only played the first one. I have two, just never got around to it. But the first one's like, I'm not a huge Souls fan. But
as he says, he'll buy Shadow of the Erdtree.
Yeah, I'll always try it. I need to form an opinion before I just start shitting on it. But I will say Neo is far the best of the bunch that I've played because it's fast paced. It's not just like hard for the sake of being hard. I feel like every time I've played it, it's like, oh, I didn't time that right, or I fucked up. But I mean, it's feudal Japan, dude. It's demons, it's Oni. Like it's sick. The aesthetics are awesome.
Supernatural.
Yeah, dude.
Supernatural feudal is interesting.
And again, like $20, like okay, whatever. Because even I see it used for more than that at like the stores around town. So I was like, oh, I'll get it, even if it sits on the shelf. As far as for Xbox, I picked up Suicide Squad.
Woof.
Which, hey.
How much was it?
I think it was like literally $12. Yeah. But their last season actually comes out today of this recording. They're adding Deathstroke, and then they said they're not going to support it.
I was about to say, did they say they're going to shut it down?
So it looks like I needed to pick it up anyway.
See ya.
Yeah. I mean, what a shame. I love the Arkham games. But, man, stop making live service games unless it's like...
it's really interesting because I'm sure we'll lead into talking about Marvel Rivals. Surprise is what we've been playing because it just came out. But, like, it's so interesting to see, like, a live service game like Suicide Squad where they try to push it so heavily, and then something like Marvel Rivals that's just doing... What was it, like, over 500,000 concurrent players across the board?
10 million players in 3 days.
Yeah, like, I think at one point it was, like... 450,000 on Steam alone. He doesn't know how much was on console.
Yeah.
And it's crossplay. So you have two examples of live service games from similar avenues, like comic books. I don't know. DC always falls flat.
The thing, man, is like you have this great secret sauce with the Arkham games. The combat's amazing. Like the stories are great.
Suicide Squad should never.
And then you're
have
just
been
like,
a
let's
live
completely
service game.
deviate from that because you didn't learn from the last Batman game that was like co-op. Live service.
Gotham Knights.
Yeah, do you hear anybody talk about that fucking game?
I wanted to like that game, but the fact that it was a live service game that you needed to like play with, I wanted it to be like a drop-in single player game.
That's how it should have been.
And like that's kind of what I was talking about when we were talking about Atlas Fallen. Is it's a single player game where you can have a drop-in co-op and make builds based on multiplayer, but it's not contingent on being a multiplayer game. It's like, oh, you have a friend who wants to play with you, but you can still enjoy this game in its entirety by yourself. Gotham Knights, you can't do that. Suicide Squad, you can't do that.
You get
so if you can't
bots.
do it, you need to offer something that wants people to be there constantly.
Perfect example. Now they're adding an offline mode.
There's also
why didn't you launch with that?
It's just way too saturated, anyways.
Exactly.
There wasn't enough variety in a saturated market, so.
Well, these developers need to start learning instead of just making horrible decisions and then firing everybody.
I think Rivals is a really good example of that, where they took a real close look at the one monopolized genre that people hated and then did everything opposite.
That's the thing. They were like, they listened to the community and was like, what don't you like? All right, let's do the app.
They were like, the community's telling us what the secret sauce is, so maybe we should actually like squirt that on our product.
Right. What a crazy
wild
thought process, man. But I also picked up Dead Island 2. I really enjoyed the first one. Again, I don't really have anyone to play it with, but it was cheap. It was like literally $8, I think. So why not? I picked up Shin Meg 5 Vengeance on the Xbox with the Steelbook. Awesome Steelbook. Again, every Atlas games that come out on Xbox, I'm going to eventually buy because they basically did a poll and they're like, hey, what do you want to see from us? And like there was a little uprising of people being like, we want physical copies on Xbox. And they're doing it. Like hats off to them. So definitely support them. I picked up Retro Realms Double Future. It's Halloween Ash versus Evil Dead. I know it was like a digital version of this game. I had no idea it was physical, but it was cheap. I love Evil Dead. Pretty much buy everything Evil Dead. And then lastly, super excited to get Starship Troopers Extermination. Love and adore Starship Troopers. Childhood favorite. The fact that there's a game and it's pretty much just first person Helldivers. Like, sign me up. I'm there for it. Can't wait to play it. It's actually, I have it installed because I was going to play it, but then kind of got into Marvel Rivals.
Yeah.
My last pickup, though, I forgot. I got the limited run. That's the thing with limited run. Shit just shows up and you're like, oh, I forgot I got this. The prehistoric edition for Jurassic Park. Apparently it comes with a, of course, physical copy. Comes in like a VHS style box, like the old Jurassic Park like clamshell poster. Comes with some kind of lamp. We'll do an unboxing for this, so why not? Sounds kind of cool. We'll see what this lamp looks like. Comes with like a cartridge, ID badge, soundtrack, steelbook, so pretty cool. It's in a big box. It's got a big pixelated T-Rex on it. I grew up playing the ever-loving dog shit out of the Game Boy version of Jurassic Park just because when my mom got me or whatever on a road trip, shut up, play the game, leave me and your dad alone while we're driving. So it's going to be fun to play it again, revisiting childhood memories. But yeah, Marvel Rivals is what we've been playing. Let's just get into that.
Yeah, I mean, we've been playing a couple other things, but we'll save that. But that's mostly, honestly, backlog talk.
Truly, I haven't fucking been playing shit because I've been working. But yeah, yesterday was my first day of freedom, and I was like...
Well, it was really like, even if you think about it, right? If your first day of freedom and you're like, okay, what game do I want to play? Like, we originally were going to play Fortnite.
Yeah.
Because the new season, and I had Godzilla's in it, and like, you're into Godzilla, and I said, oh, this is, you know, like a Ronin style, looks cool. A cat, little ninja cat was
Oni
cool.
and shit.
Yeah, so I played it and like got my quest done, and I was like, all right, Brian will play it. And he's like, oh, I'm on Marvel Rivals. And I said...
Well, it's funny too,
I said,
because
all right.
my thought process literally all weekend at work was like, I get to play Stalker 2 Monday.
Yeah.
I have it installed. I've been waiting. It came out right when I started my peak season, and I was like, oh, I'll just wait because it needs patch and shit anyway. And they put the patch out, so I was like, bro, this is perfect.
They already put it out?
Yeah.
That's nice.
So I'm like, this is perfect. What perfect timing? And then I was like, you know what? I saw there's a code to get a free Iron Man skin. I'm like, I'll just put this code in. And I was like, yeah, I'll play a game.
For Marvel Rivals?
Yeah.
Where's the code?
Oh, I'll put it in the Discord.
Oh, well, I need to go find this code now.
Yeah, it's the Marvel Now with like the gold and black.
I was wondering where people
Yeah.
got that black suit from.
Yeah.
So that
Join the
explains
Discord,
it.
guys, for a sweet code. Yeah, it's funny. It kind of worked out that way, but I think it's perfect segue right into the episode, right? Like,
Right. I mean, like we were gonna play Fortnite, and then you were like, "Oh, I'm on Marvel Rivals." I said, "Okay, I'll download it and like I guess play the tutorial that's non-existent in the damn game." So you know, whatever. But then we just ended up playing for like 4 hours, and then the next thing you know, it's like me and you, and then when a dude from work got on, and then another friend got on.
that's funny. I was gonna play Fortnite with him too because he
Yeah.
was really into Fortnite,
And
and he was
then-
like, "I'll check this out."
And then another friend was just like, you guys are on Marvel? I'm leaving work. So he got on, and then his son got on. So we had
and then
almost...
Sherry got on.
Yeah, we almost had a full team, and Swoosh, we'll play with you next time. We're going to have a full 6-man comp. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't like hero arena shooters. I don't like Overwatch. I've never liked Overwatch. I like the aesthetic design of the characters, but the fact that it's Blizzard, I just like don't want to even try to play the game. And then paired with that, how toxic Overwatch people are, I don't want to interact with Overwatch people. So I just like don't know anything about Overwatch. I don't know anything about hero shooters other than like you have a hero with specific skills. So I'm not familiar with this game type. So I'm jumping in this game like, what in the hell am I doing? I don't know what's going on. I'm like, which one's the tank, the DPS, and the healer? Because like there's really only 3, but they're all called different things. So, but the thing about this game is there are so many characters. I did not realize there would be this. I thought there'd be like 10.
33 at launch, bro.
I thought there'd be like 10.
Yeah.
And everyone would be playing the same character. I had no idea that some of these, like Cloak and Dagger, not one I would have imagined to be in this game.
It's cool they have like non-MCU characters. So like huge comic book fan, we've talked about it previously. Like how cool is it to see some of these like random ass heroes get their shine?
Right. I mean,
Jeff
there's
the Shark and shit.
Right. There's definitely some that have been like touching the MCU, but I think like overall this MCU has kind of been dead for comic fans for a while because we're just like, okay, man, like whatever. All right. It's saturated market inside of itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard to keep up to, but like when I opened up that menu, I was like, Cloak and Dagger's weird. A weird choice. I'm like, what was it, Luna Snow?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, weird choice to be in here too. Wasn't expecting that one. Some of the X-Men, like where's Nightcrawler? Is he in there?
Nope. No Cyclops.
Yeah, there's like some like Psylocke is in there, and I'm like, okay, Psylocke is cool, but
You know
like
how cool Colossus would be as a tank.
I know.
But that's the thing that maybe they keep supporting it and we keep playing it.
Well, And here's my question on this game, though, is they released 33 characters, like, out of the gate, right? Are they going to release new characters? Because there's so many to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to release new characters as free updates, or is it going to be characters you need to buy?
Push X to doubt. Because I feel like
I
it's going to be...
don't know yet.
So here's the thing with this game. There's some costumes that are $10, there's some that are $15, there's some that are $16, and there's some that are $20.
Mm-hmm.
I got a feeling those characters are going to be around $20. But the way Overwatch 2
but I don't
did
know
it...
if, are we going to... I was about to say, how did Overwatch 2 do
So
new
Overwatch 2 has it where
characters?
it's like you can get them in the season pass, or you can just outright buy the character, or you can like earn in-game currency and unlock the character.
But is it a whole character or
Yes.
just their skin?
It's a whole character.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so we'll see. That's the thing. This game does give you the option to sit there and be patient and, use the in-game currency, because there's 3 forms of fucking currency.
But that's where it's like, okay, if they're going to include things in passes, like, is there going to be FOMO?
Yeah.
Where, because I mean, the current 30-day pass, that the $5 one they have right now, it's just skins.
Right.
Which is fine, but I'm worried that they're going to start
Putting characters in.
dumping, because they have so many characters that they could do. They could dump so many that it's going to require me to use all of my time to get these characters, or just buy it.
Right.
It's going to force my hand into buy it because there's not enough time in the day to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little worried about that, and like, if that is implemented, I will drop this game. I do not care how fun it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to spend my time playing one game.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I'm
tough.
not the kind of person who could play one game. There are people who are like, Fortnite is their game and that's all they play. Valorant is their game and that's all they play. League of Legends is it. That's it for them. But I have other things to do and, 1,100 games on a shelf to play.
Exactly.
So I can't play Marvel Rivals 24/7.
Right.
So I'm hoping that, because right now it seems like they're a cross between a Fortnite style UI and a Call of Duty style. Like, when I first loaded it in, I said, this looks like Call of Duty, but it also looks like Fortnite. I'm wondering, because Fortnite has never introduced, I mean, it's not a hero shooter, obviously, but they've never introduced something new that you can't use
like a
in the game.
mechanic or something.
Yeah, like it's
always
not,
been skins.
Right, and they refresh it all the time anyways. But even with Call of Duty, right, there's never been a weapon that you can't use without buying the individual weapon.
Right.
You have to buy the game, right? If you want access to the Modern Warfare 3 games, you buy the entire Modern Warfare 3 game, but that comes with the campaign and everything with the core
And
game.
now they have it where it's like, hey, this specific gun that happens to be the fucking meta, you can only get in the season pass, and if you don't buy it this season, you're gonna miss out on it.
Yes, and that is what I
Horseshit.
do not
That's why I stopped playing Call of Duty,
That's why people
honestly.
stop playing a game like that.
That's
So
why I stopped playing.
the second they start implementing specific characters inside of a pass that are no longer available outside of that pass, or I have to like pay for a character, I will pay for skins and cosmetics and whatnot all day, because ultimately, like, Fortnite has shown that makes them money and it works. They don't need to sell mechanics.
Right.
We'll buy skins left and right, and especially with the Marvel repertoire, they're not going to have a problem selling us shit.
Right.
They're going to have so many options, like, just for
Oh, dude, I was
one
already on the
character
store looking at it. I was
alone,
like,
right?
man, this is going to be a problem if I just get the Spider-Man characters.
And, like, everyone has, like, their one character that they love, but I'm looking through some of these characters, and I'm like, man.
The skin's dope.
I said, the Donny Cates Thor, God of Thunder skin is real nice. I'm like, ooh. And then they come with that little fancy, like, if you get the MVP, they have a whole new animation. And I'm like, ooh, rubbing my little hands together. And I'm like, what do I do? So I'm waiting this game out to see if I really want to stick with committing to playing this. It might be a game where I come back. Maybe I don't like the season. Maybe I don't like his. To be honest, like, this pass that's out right now, I'm not a huge fan of the Black Panther. The Black Panther skin for me is the best one. The Thunderbolts Punisher is cool.
That's why I got it. I'm a huge Punisher guy. So.
Like, the God of Magic Strange is meh.
Yeah.
I don't really care. Is the other one Mantis?
There's 2 original skins for the games. It's Mantis, and I want to say it's Hela.
And the other pages.
Yeah.
It's just, they're kind of like nothing skins
it's just like,
for me. They're like,
alternate, space-faring skins.
Right. So
I want comic-based ones, man.
If it ends up being a pass of, like, something I'm not interested in, I'm okay skipping it.
Right.
As long as it's cosmetic.
Yeah.
Once it becomes not cosmetic, then I'm going to have an issue.
Yeah, it's a totally different can of worms, right?
You're right. I'm more inclined to spend money on something where I don't feel like I'm being locked out of a game mechanically.
Definitely.
So I hope they take note of why people spend so much money and time, and Fortnite's had such a longevity in that sense. but keep that complicated nature of why people like playing something like Overwatch.
Is there a connection between this game and Fortnite? Because I know they're doing like the thing with the glider. Is it the same studio?
I don't know. It's not the same studio. The developer was also it's a Chinese developer that's helped like Blizzard bring some of their games over. Like they helped develop. I know even like
Fortnite right now has like Doom 2099 in the store, but it's the Marvel Rivals version.
Here's
of Doom.
the thing, because Disney and Marvel and everyone dumped so much money into Epic that it would make sense for them to have some kind of crossover with something that they're like, oh, Marvel Rivals, like if we can pivot some people over to Fortnite, or we can pivot the Fortnite people over to our new game, like Epic will pay you more to include opportunities for a glider for those Fortnite players. Because if the Fortnite players, because you have to play, you don't even have to win 10 matches.
You have to play.
You have to play 10 matches. So if they can pivot, and this is what Overwatch couldn't do, is if they can pivot someone from another game over to play long enough to say, hey, I kind of like this game, they might stay.
Yeah.
And that's what they're trying to do with Fortnite players. Overwatch didn't do that. They said, let's pivot our own players over to a game that sucks balls.
Yep.
And then not even try and reach out to anyone else.
If you have any sort of feedback or questions, automatic double birds, fuck you.
And then there you go. You've got Overwatch, because Overwatch has such a monopoly on this style that there's no other hero shooter that's going to compete.
Right.
What are the other options?
None.
I mean, even with Valorant, it's styled more like CSGO.
It's completely different, though. And if you want to say Siege is a hero shooter now, it's a completely different breed of animal. Like, it's not even the same solar system at this point.
No. So, like a true arena, like hero shooter style game, Overwatch has gotten away with so much shit because they've never had a competition. And I think everyone recognizes that. So either Marvel's going to do great and they're going to kind of become the giant, or Overwatch will finally go, oh shit, let's make Overwatch 3. They're just gonna dump that on 2, right? And they'll say, well, I guess we'll just make Overwatcher. But
oh man,
I don't know. Marvel Rivals I was really impressed with when we played. I was shockingly impressed with.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's cool to hear a perspective from someone that hasn't played the hero shooters, because like I played a shitload of Overwatch 1, and then 2 I was really disappointed. And I was kind of looking to feed that itch, because honestly there's the secret sauce of when you get the whole gang together and you get a win and you just decimate the other team.
Yeah.
I think last night I put it the best, is like you either do the shitting or you get shit on. When you're doing the shitting, dude, it's so like, fuck yeah, high five. Like it's awesome, man. Because even like Sherry was playing, she was like, I don't know how I feel about these kind of games. I'm like, play with the gang, see if you like it. And she was like, I don't know. And then she was like, okay, I get it now. And I was like, there you go, man.
And I think I think she's in the similar mindset of me, is like, I really enjoy playing games by myself because I can enjoy a game by myself. But there's a lot of multiplayer games that I have no interest in. But the second my friends have interest, I can enjoy my time with them. It's like, sometimes it's really not about the game. Like, how many times have you guys dragged me into a game where I'm like, oh my god, why am I playing this? PUBG started at that point, but we continued it.
Yeah. And now it's literally we're chasing that nostalgia.
Yeah, we could have just done them. But what was that one, Back 4 Blood? You guys tried to get me to play that, and I played it one time. I cried and bitched about it, but I'm like, we're playing stupid
all
zombie
in
game.
on Back to Blood, and I was like, but we'll play it because it's with a friend.
And we played it, and I had a good time because I was with friends, but like, this was never a game I would play by myself, ever.
I think that's actually a really interesting point. I actually got it in my notes. Like, if you guys are trying to find a game to play, like, pick at your backlog, save like multiplayer centric ones for your friends that are wanting to play together. There's so many options out there. Like, trying to sit there and do that shit by yourself is never the way. It's never fun. Like, sitting there, like, Fortnite, we all love Fortnite, but, like, have you ever tried playing it by yourself and just being, like, no one with you?
It's exhausting.
Completely different experience.
There's some times where I get up in the morning and I'm like, I guess I'll just try and knock out some quests by myself. And it is just an experience where I get on
I get 2 or 3
like,
games and I say, fuck this.
I'm like, I'll just do these quests for, like, an hour and then I'll get off. But, like, I don't want to play for any longer than that because there's nothing holding me there. Yeah. Like, multiplayer games are really about that multiplayer experience. And if you can't have it, and like, I get it, some people don't have friends to play games with, which is why you should join our Discord.
I was gonna say, join the Discord.
Because there's definitely a lot of games that I would be more inclined to play and would love to play, and especially like playing with a group of people where you have a full team and you don't have to rely on pugs that are just like, they suck or they are doing something completely opposite than what you're trying to do. it can facilitate a much better and enjoyable time.
I think No Man's Sky is a perfect recent example for me. I had the original release forever, right? Played it. It was obviously a different game, 8 years ago or 6 years ago, however long it came out. But I know you got into it, and I was like, oh, whatever, I'll check it out. Like, really, really enjoyable time with friends, bro. Like, sitting there in Russian trying to get our Normandies was a blast, bro.
I don't know, like, why I started playing... I don't know why I started playing No Man's Sky, but I bought it when it came out for PC, and it was a dead nothing. Yeah. There was nothing in the game, and I don't know... If no one's ever experienced the beginning of No Man's Sky, the Expedition Adrift is exactly like original No Man's Sky. The stations are empty. Yep. Every single space station has no... All it has is a teleporter and a galactic terminal where you can sell things off. And then maybe a couple boxes where you can open to get stuff. There's no NPCs. There's no shops. There's nothing inside of it. And it was just such an open and empty experience. When you get on the planets, right? When you play on the planets, you can scan some things and there's some animals. But, like, what's the point of making a base when I'm the only one in the galaxy? And it always felt like you were the only player in the entire galaxy for such a procedurally generated online game for no people to be inside of it. It was heartbreaking. Yeah, my first experience with it, I never saw anybody, and I put like maybe 13, 14 hours into it. Never saw one player. There was never anybody there. That wasn't implemented until later. Right. And so when I picked it up again, I don't remember why I picked it up, but I picked it up and I still have my original save. Nice. And I was like, it won't even let me open it because it's so old and on an old version. But I was like, I did not play this for very long, and I can see the exact date that I last saved at. And it was like half a decade ago, forever ago, whenever No Man's Sky came out, I can't remember. But now that I'm playing it, like the expedition modes, like it gives you a goal. It's like a short form version of the entire game where you have phases that you need to do specific, I want to call them quests, right? Yeah. It's like fix your starship. The pacing of the expeditions for sure. And the pacing of the expeditions is really like, it teaches you how to sort of play the game from start to finish. Like you've got to start in an end goal, and there are some things inside where you can do out of order, but it's kind of structured to be done in a specific order. And then one thing naturally leads to the next. So it helps you not get so lost. Yeah. So if you've never played No Man's Sky and you're interested, whenever you get on and there's an expedition, just play your first game in expedition mode. Yeah, from doing it the inverse way first, I can't agree more. Yeah, it's so, and then by the end of it, you might get a really good ship that you got. You're going to have a whole bunch of cool materials that you can bring back to really like start a core game and then kind of slowly go through that core game because there's so much to do in it. But right now they've got all the expeditions that came out this year in a course of like a couple weeks. So I think the expedition right now ends in about 6 days. I've already done that one. Nice. So the next one, I believe, is Adrift, is the one where you experience No Man's Sky like it was. Oh, I want to play that one. So just for shits and gigs. Yeah. And like there's no NPCs, but the expeditions go on a specific flight path. So like the systems that you have to go to for the quests are crafted by Hello Games. It's not like generated at all. Right. So when you get to a checkpoint where you need to go, there will be other people there too. So it's not completely empty. Right. And then it still opens up that opportunity to like go to other people's bases and teleport to them. So there's still kind of that multiplayer. There are more people here, but it feels more like, we're a group of people exploring a dead space together. Right. So and you can invite. There's tons of people on the starship. You can invite them to your game if you want. Most of these people that are there are going for the same quest anyway. Yep. That's what Brian and I did. We ended up trying to go through the expedition step by step together. So it's really fun and it's short. And if you don't like it after one expedition, then like it's probably not the game for you. But it is a completely different game. Great segue into another one of my tips. If you don't like playing the game, no one's got a gun to your head. No one's making you play this game. So if you have a giant backlog of games and you're like, I guess I'll play this, like no one's making you play the game, bro. Like this is your hobby. This is supposed to be fun, right? Don't feel like you have to play something. There's nothing wrong with being like, this wasn't for me and putting it back on your shelf. Yeah. For sure. And I think tying into a collector aspect too, I don't think there's no reason that if you buy a game and you intend to play it and you're a collector of that type of game, you take it off,
Yeah.
you don't enjoy the game, you don't need to get rid of it.
Yeah.
You don't have to get rid of the game. Be like, this game is bad. Why is it on my shelf? Well, you had an experience with that game. You collect that kind of type of game. Like, you're not going to like every single game in the Xbox 360 library.
I got a lot of 5s and 6s, brother, on my shelf.
You're not going to like every single one, and that's like the discovery part of collecting too. It's like, you don't need to know everything you're collecting. I would not pay $1,700 for a game without you being sure you're really going to want it there, but if you buy a $20 game and it ends up being like, this game kind of sucks, you don't have to immediately sell it and be like, well, you're the kind of collector that doesn't play games. It's like, I played it. It wasn't good, but I still own it, you know, and I could talk about it. And maybe at some point you want to go revisit it and try it again. That's an option too. Just like No Man's Sky, right? I owned it. I did not like it in a digital format, of course, so I couldn't really sell it.
Right.
But then I went back to it years later and I love it now.
Especially in modern gaming, like, games are not going to be the same as they are 5-6 years from now.
Right.
I think No Man's Sky is the best example of that.
Mm-hmm.
I would have sold it, but I was like, it's an exclusive, so I'm going to keep it. At the time it was. And then they, put tons of work into it. Now it's on everything. I've got a PS4 copy and an Xbox One copy. Like, I think it's a really good point to tie it into collectability, because I was just thinking of just playing them, right? Getting through it. I think that's what most people think of the backlog, but as collectors, it is a little different. So that's a really good point, man.
Because a lot of, especially, I always see people talking about Steam backlogs, or like, I've got 500 games on my Steam backlog. And like these, you have 500 games on Steam because the Steam sales honestly are really good sometimes. Mm-hmm. So you're getting like, oh, this is bundles. A game that I've been looking at, or this is a game my friend suggested, or bundles at really, really good prices. They just kind of pile up in that library.
Honestly, that's my biggest problem I'm an achievement guy, right? So anytime there's a Xbox game digitally that's digital only and it goes on sale, like, I'm going to buy it. Mm-hmm. Especially now with the delistings and they closed the whole 360 store. Like, that's any day. All these games can be gone. I'm like, I need the achievements. So my digital backlog, which I hate saying out loud, is huge. I'm talking like 3,000 games.
Yeah.
I'm never going to get through them.
Yeah.
But a tool I do use to get through them is, like, for right now, great example. It's all what kind of player you are. I'm very much going for gamer score right now. I'm 50,000 away from 1 million gamer score, which fucking awesome.
We're hitting that in 2025, right?
Oh yeah.
You're streaming it, right?
Yeah, and tease the future a little bit. I intentionally slowed down to get 50K away. I mean, I'm still playing games, so I'm still getting some achievements, but yeah, I want to
busting out 3,000 a day.
Right, I'm not doing these games I can knock out in an hour and get, 5,000 gamer score. Mm-hmm. I'm saving it, And for the time though to get to that 50, I was going through my list and being like, using my tools, if you will, how long to beat, using Xbox 360 achievements, true achievements, seeing how much time it takes to get these. You can use tools there's tons of tools out there available to you to, like, figure out how you're going to get through your backlog. I think time's really important. For example, for me, racing to get to that million, I could knock it out with, hey, what games can I beat in under an hour and get this gamer score? This right here. But also there's the flip side of, like, I want to have fun. I know there's shit coming out, like Stalker 2, great example. We talked about at the beginning of the episode. I strategically was like, I'm not going to start a longer game right now so I can play Stalker 2, but work got in the way, which it's fine. It worked out because now we have a patch. But, there's tons of tools out there you can use to, like, help you figure out what your next game is, because for me, example, my huge backlog, I'm not even talking digital. I have a huge shelf full of games too.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, I don't want to be just suckered into just playing Xbox games all the time, just achievement games all the time. So, like, I try to balance it out with, like, I hate playing multiple games at once, but, like, I have to do it as a necessity, right? If not, I'm just stuck playing Like a Dragonician trying to grind out these achievements, or stuck with Black Desert fishing for hours and hours.
I mean, I think that's a really good point too to bring up, is some people are built for multiple games and some people are not, but also don't force yourself in one category. I used to be that kind of person to where if I started a game, I needed to play it until a completion and not play something else. And I'm trying to think of, like, I can't really think of the last one. I think it was Red Dead. I think it was Red Dead Redemption 2. And I think that's maybe why I got so burnt out this year on games, is because that was the only game I played from start to finish completely through, and it burnt me out. I was exhausted playing that game. And I just don't
Especially when you're going for completions. When you just
I'm
sit
not
there and
even
you're
going for
grinding.
completions. I'm just saying I beat the game. And now...
I'm just saying I feel you.
Like
I'm the same way.
You know, and now I'm at the point where it's like, maybe I should not do that at all because I'm going to burn myself out again. And so one of those games that I picked up recently because it's in that format that I could put it down was Hades. Because Hades is a game that obviously everybody knows. Hades 2 is in early access right now. It's playable. So for Hades, for me, I got to the point where I had got back from vacation and I had got back from my new job training schedule. So I was back to a normal schedule after Ghost of Tsushima. And I was like, okay, I beat Ghost of Tsushima. I want to play a new game now. I'm back to normal, so I don't really need to do like the one game, sit down, pick up. I could play a couple other ones. And I'm like, okay, what's on my shelf that like I've wanted to play? What am I feeling? Because like when I go through playing games, I'll say, okay, is there a certain console I want to focus on? Am I feeling a PS4 game? Am I feeling a PS3 game? Like, am I feeling a handheld?
Yeah.
And I'll kind of just like vibe it out. And then once I vibed out, like, okay, do I want a handheld or do I want a sit-down console game? Then I'll go inside of those libraries and say, okay, what am I vibing out inside of here? And I don't remember how I fell on Hades, but I remember just staring at my shelf and being like, Hades is a game that I have told myself I want to play and I never have. And it's been, what, how many years since it was nominated for Game of the Year?
Couple. Yeah.
What year was that? 2020?
Something like that when you look.
Wasn't it with like Final Fantasy and Last of Us 2? And I think
so.
I think it was Last of Us 2.
2020. Yep.
Last of Us 2, because I remember that game year was amazing. Animal Crossing, Hades, Final Fantasy 7 Remake. And there was a couple, what were the other nominations? God of War?
Ragnarok, probably, yeah.
It wasn't Ragnarok. But anyway, so that year was
Doom
like...
Eternal.
Doom Eternal,
Shit.
that's what it was. That was
Damn, what a
probably
year.
like one of the best years that we've ever had. For games, not, for the world. But anything outside of that was fucking terrible. But I was like, man, it's been 4 years and I still haven't played this game. And so I pulled it off and I don't know anything about it. I didn't realize it was even a roguelike at all. And so I'm playing this game and I'm realizing like, okay, let me roll back. I'm not playing the game yet. I've pulled the game off and I've considered it for my choice, right? And then I go, how long does it take to beat this game? That's my next step in this process of my backlog is like, I can't make a list. Some people can make a list where I'm going to play this game and then I'm going to play this game and then I'm going to play this game.
Some people use Excel spreadsheets and shit and come up with formulas. I'm like, that seems like a second job. Like, if that works for you, great. But fuck that for me.
So mine is, once I've narrowed, I've narrowed down what system I want to play, maybe a couple options for that, and then I go into how long to beat, because it gives you everyone's average.
It's a great tool. Yeah.
And mine is always main story plus extras. I'm never looking at a complete number.
Right.
Because I'm not going to complete a game.
Not speed rushing it, bro.
No.
Yeah.
So it said it was like 21 hours. And I was like, oh, okay. Like Hades is a short game. 20 hours is a really good like sampler plate for me. It's not, sometimes I have to be mentally ready to play a 60+ hour game.
Yeah.
I can't just sit down and play a 60+ hour game. So those 20 to 30 ones are really good bite size for me that I can commit to it at one time and then play just really that game. So I'm like, oh, okay, 20 hours. But, and then I start playing this game and I'm like, there ain't no way in hell I'm beating this game in 20 hours. I didn't realize, I had no idea, and maybe call me stupid for not knowing how this game works, but I did not realize that once you died, you started at the beginning and you had to go all the way from the bottom to the top again. There were no checkpoints. And I was like, dude.
Does it really say 20 hours on how long?
Yes.
Bro, true achievement says 60 to 80. That's to get every achievement. But Jesus Lord. That's
Hold
crazy.
on, let me pull it up.
I was just thinking, I'm like, that seems low. Everybody that feels play this game has been playing it.
Yeah, so I am a game purveyor, if that's the word. We love the Game Eye app, love them. But they recently were able to link their games with how long to beat, and so for some of their games, not all of them. 23
hours, bro. Get the fuck out of here.
That's what I'm saying. For like
48 plus main and extra. No,
mine's 23 main story plus sides 48. So plus sides to me, especially for a game like Hades, is like probably some of this extra
Side quest,
side shit in a rogue that I'm really not going to do. I'm not going to like level up all the crazy weapons or whatever. I want to get through the story and understand how it is, and that's really kind of it. So it's like 23 hours. Okay. No, it's not happening. It's not happening. So the first time like I beat the first boss and got past her, I got like that first little item. I think it was like a blood thing. And then I was like, wait, I have to do this for every weapon?
Yeah.
What the hell's going on? And then I got past her the first time to the next area and I was like, yeah. So I died and I went back and I said, they'll start me off at the second area, right? And then I jump out the window and I'm like, no, man, this is no way. And that game style is not for me. That's not a game style I enjoy playing. I really like them in short bursts.
I think that's the secret sauce, right? Everybody's different, but for me personally, I like it in like, let me see how far I can get until I get just frustrated all to hell, and then I can come back and visit it because no harm, no foul if you die, right?
Right, no harm, no foul. There's sort of like a permanent progression system with like leveling up, some of the abilities you get, right?
Right.
I really enjoy Risk of Rain, but that's not a game I play by myself. Yeah. Risk of Rain is a game that I play with a friend, and we do kind of specific things on our runs, but I won't play that game by myself.
Yeah.
And we'll sit there for a couple hours and play it, and every single time is enjoyable because we try different things, and it's something I can bounce off of him, but I'm not going to go and pursue that by myself. So, Hades, I think there's enough there for me to pursue by myself in terms of the story and the characters. But in that short burst, this is not a game that I can sit through and try and like hammer fist it through one day.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna turn into the same thing that happened with Red Dead, which I just don't think I'm that kind of person anymore. I used to be able to do it, and I just don't think I can.
Yeah.
So
there's nothing wrong with that. I think there's like this wall of shame that people have surrounding their backlog and long games in general, especially like us. Like you love RPGs. They're long games, bro.
Dude.
There's like this weird like mindset online where it's like you're a piece of shit if you don't complete all of them. It's like, dude, everybody's different. Even like when I first started, I used to have the craziest way to pick games, which it doesn't work for my life anymore, just to be fair. So like, just not to step over you or whatever. The way I used to do this was Monday was like cartridge-based games. Tuesday was
you had a schedule.
Achievements.
You had like a streaming schedule.
it doesn't work for me anymore. My life's completely different than it was 10, 15 years ago when I was doing this crazy shit. But like, you've got to adapt.
The only thing that we can do is do Monday Marvel Rivals until Monster Hunter comes out, and then like we're over it.
Right. But that's the thing, man. Like, if you're sitting there and it feels like a job just to get through a game, like, you've got to remember why you're doing this in the first place, right? This is what we do to relax. This is what we do to have fun. This is a hobby, man. Like, don't turn it into a job. And like you're saying, these long games, picking at them, I think Like a Dragon Ishin's a big one for me. I love the Yakuza games. I want to play through them all 100%. I could sit there and just like grind through it, and it's the only thing I do for the next year. Or I could sit there and just pick at it. Like, I could sit there and just pick at playing all the gambling mini games or all the fishing mini games. I've been talking about in this podcast. Look back on the year. That's like, oh, I picked at this. For me, it's a much more enjoyable experience instead of just being like, let me just grind this out and not have fun the whole time. Or it's like, you know what? If I play 10 games of solitaire a day on here, I'll eventually get that 100%.
So for the Ishin, is that you're trying to get 100% completion?
Yep.
So what about, is it just the mini games where you're like, oh, I can go back to this?
So the way I did it, I played the story like I wanted to play the story because it's a great story. It's fun. I leveled up all the combat abilities like very naturally, like through the course of gameplay, and the shit I knew that I wouldn't enjoy as much. So like the card-based mini games or the courtesan mini games, like it's all the shit that's just grindy, where it's like chicken racing. It's RNG. It's shit that if I sit there and played it for 3 hours at a time, I'm not going to enjoy myself having a chicken run around a race and just betting on which chicken I think is going to win for 3 hours straight. Mm-hmm. That kind of stuff. So it's the grindy stuff. And then I've got some combat stuff left where it's like I need a certain ability, use this ability X amount of times for the completion list or whatever. But I think there's nothing wrong with going back and picking at games, especially when they're long, man. Like, play the story however you want. You know, it's your game. Don't let those outside noise tell you how you should enjoy it.
Do you feel like
your friend beats it, don't feel like it's a competition. Like, remember why you're in this hobby, man.
Right. Do you feel like with Like a Dragon, you would feel differently about doing that 100% completion if it was a restriction on us, like it's shutting down?
Oh yeah.
Like not that obviously it's going to happen because it is a single player, offline game where you can successfully do 100% by yourself. But if you had this game, let's say for example, we're talking about oh, I don't know. Let's talk about PUBG, because there's achievements in PUBG.
Yeah.
So say there's achievements in PUBG, and it's a game that well, I haven't casually played it, but we kind of casually play it now.
We went crazy
right?
with it for a while.
We went crazy for a while.
Then,
that was the reason I got
They never
an
updated
Xbox,
the motherfucker.
right?
Yeah.
But we play it casually for a while, and then they say, you know, you're enjoying it. You're like, you know, just like you said, like enjoy the game, and when you've had enough, you put it down and you come back to it later. Shame. But then they say we're gonna shut PUBG down. So now, does that stress of I have a time limit to get all of this grinding done, does that change your enjoyment?
So here's a really good example. So, achievement guy, right? I used to take my completion percentage so fucking serious. Like, there was a point where I was literally 13th in the country for gamer score. All right, so like way up there. Took this shit very serious. Obviously, before I met Sherry. But like, I'm talking when I was like 20, 21, when me and my brother, when Nate had an apartment together, like he worked nights, I worked days. That 360 was on 24 hours a day getting achievements, bro. Like, we took this shit serious. Obviously, I can't do it anymore, but I do take in consideration of like, is this obtainable? Great example right now. Friday the 13th. It's a game I wanted to play when it came out. It's like an isometric horror game, kind of like Dead by Daylight. But the achievements are crazy on there. Like, you need to play 1,000 matches as Jason, 1,000 matches as a counselor. The achievements go down for that on December 31st. So relatively soon. I'm not going to get 1,000 games. I could sit here and stay up all night for the next 3 weeks and do it. I used to really beat myself up about that, getting my completion percentage. My completion percentage was like 93%, which is like crazy. My gamer score was like 500,000, dude.
I remember there was one point where I wanted to play games with you guys, and you guys refused because you were like, it'll mess up our completion percentage.
Exactly.
And I was like, who fucking cares, man? I want to play this game. I was like, I play games with you guys all the time, and you were like, no, it's going to mess up our percentage. And I was like, fine, fuckers.
So like, I used to take that shit super serious, but then I don't know what the fuck clicked. One day I was like, you're missing out on like experiences, opportunities, or even just selfishly, like achievements, bro. Like, if we're playing a multiplayer game and we're having fun and I happen to get shit along the way, oh God, what a horrible fucking crime. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't beat myself up about it anymore. I literally do what I can. I don't want to make this a second job is my thing. It's like,
I think it was Monster Hunter.
I think it was, yeah.
Now that I think about it, because Nate played it with me first. Yep. And we were like, oh, we need a third. And you were adamant that it would mess up your percentage until you finally broke and played it. Yeah.
The thing is now, like, I literally just try to get what I can. And if it feels like it's a job, or if I lose sight of like why I'm playing games in the first place, like for me it's fun to get gamer score. Mm-hmm. When I hit 1 million, I'm like, am I gonna keep going? I'm gonna be like, no, I'm gonna retire. No, I'm not. I'm gonna keep fucking going. But it's fun for me. Like, I don't want it to be a chore. I don't want it to feel like taxing. It's not fun. I've already done 500 games as Jason Voorhees. Like, it's boring as shit. Me and Nate literally go into a private lobby and I sit there and kill him, and then the game takes 3 minutes to fucking load and you kill him again. Dude, if I don't get 1,000, whatever.
Y'all hear me all the time talk about how boring that sounds, and I couldn't do it.
It's weird. I like the gamer score, but I'm not gonna sit here and kill myself
part
anymore.
Of you.
Yeah. It's I just can't do it like I used to, man. Like, there's Call of Duty 3 is another great example. I don't know, 80, 120 hours of just literally getting around to capture the flag, having an enemy throw it back at you and throw it back at them. Mm-hmm. The gamer score is a sick disease, bro. You think collecting is a sick disease?
I feel like there was one time, I definitely know that there's been a shift, especially lately too, with you not taking that gamer score so seriously.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, I obviously have like gaming friends who like doing the trophies, or like, oh, I got this achievement or whatever, or I'm going for this achievement, because I do the same thing. If I'm playing a game and I'll go through that trophy list and be like, oh, this one seems attainable, let me go spend 5 minutes kicking guys off of a cliff, and then I can get a cool little trophy, and like whatever. Or like games, if I really like it, I will go through that to see if I can get that platinum, because like to me in PlayStation, achievements aren't really anything, but the platinums,
nice. Yeah.
It's a different format, and I kind of like that. But if I go through that and it's too difficult for me to get the platinum, I don't care how much I like that game. Yeah. Final Fantasy VII Remake, I will not platinum that game. I won't. I could, because I went through the heartache of beating it in a hard mode, but like doing the secret missions and stuff, dude, I don't know if I could do it, especially the new one. And I'm like, you know what? That's fine. I'll leave it unfinished. But I remember I asked you at one point, I was like, okay, because you had lost your first account.
Yeah.
You guys lost your first account.
300,000 gamer score on that first account. It's fucking horse shit. So I should be at 1 million right now.
And then like, you guys are just like, every time we talked about it, you get so butthurt about it being gone. So butthurt about it. And then there was that time where I was really trying to get you guys to play games with me, but you were just like, no, we got to do achievement games. And I was like, what is it about the achievement? Like, what do you gain?
I can't even describe it, man. Look, it's an arbitrary number that does absolutely nothing.
I know. And I was like, guys, like, you can play that at any point in time, but like, what are you gaining? Like, what you guys, your top, let's say you're number 4 in the country. Congratulations.
We're 13,
what do you
it's the highest
have?
I've got.
Right?
Yeah.
And like y'all are just like, well, it's a big score, and I'm like, for what though?
Oh no,
like
that's
for
the thing.
what?
Like, I still love it, and it's like literally my main primary focus for gaming. Like if I'm being 100% transparent and honest, like there's times I literally don't have fun, but I want to get that gamer score because I'm a sicko, and that's what's rewarding to me. But I have taken a step back. It used to be much worse, and I don't want to miss opportunities. Like No Man's Sky is a great example too. It's like we get to play a random game and have fun. Like, okay.
Yeah, I think definitely.
You need to be more open to that, even from gamer score
Right.
people, unless you're literally in like GTSC, which I was at one point. But like, you need to be more open to it. Like, don't miss opportunities because of whatever reason. Maybe it is gamer score. Maybe it is you want 100% every game you play. Like, don't close that door. Don't miss opportunities on like playing with your friends or doing something together. There's memories and shit that you're not going to be able to get, and these arbitrary numbers or whatever it is. 100% completion, gamer score, whatever. It's not going to mean anything. From a sicko, to another sicko.
Because then I feel like I asked you, I was like, okay, so what if you lose this account too? Then what? You know, I was like, and then what? And I
remember
think
this came up, yeah.
Yeah, I think
told
that
myself
might have
I
like
probably wouldn't do it, but then I know how sick I am. I'd be like, wait, I can start and get 100% completion on this card.
Know, right? which is funny because now I feel like you've definitely taken that turn of like me being that kid who's always been like, I've never had friends to play games with, and you guys are refusing to play games with me, and it's sad, and I'm like heartbroken over here.
I don't want to do that anymore,
You're
man.
like more inclined to play a game. You're like, oh, I could get achievements while I'm playing and having
Right.
fun now, and I'm like, thank God.
I think it's a little bit, honestly, too, I think it's just the modern era. Like, everything is online now, and everything is connected. It used to not, like, the 360 days, there were so many single-player games and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the servers are going to be gone eventually. They closed the marketplace already. But just
I mean, that's definitely a big part of it, too, where there's days where you're like, hey, because I know we're about to go hunting for a bunch of games that are on server closures.
How timely for this episode, bro.
Right.
It's like backlog. Let's just add to it.
And so, like, now with that shift, it's like, especially, like, trying to coordinate with friends who do gamer score or do play specific games on, and this could even fall into people who are part of Valorant teams, who you play with specific people and you like playing ranked, and they get together on their ranked duos at very specific times of day, and it's hard to play games with them on those times because they're dedicated to something else, right? But now I feel like, okay, I understand where you're coming from on the achievements and needing to do them in a timely manner for some things, because you're like, I only have until this date, right?
Right.
Like Terra, I think I tried to get on there with you guys.
Oh, we went hard as shit on Terra. Both versions.
Because there's definitely games that, like, if you're trying to play them, I'll see if I can jump in just to kind of like play with you,
which is fun.
But I also know I'm not playing Friday the 13th.
Right.
I'm not doing it. So I'll give you guys your little time to play Friday the 13th, and then I'm like, but can we play No Man's Sky? And you're like, yeah, let's play tomorrow or whatever. So there's like a balance.
Definitely. And honestly, the older I've got, and like it sounds lame as fuck, but like the less time you have, the easier it is to appreciate that kind of shit, you know? Like, I was hardcore, man. Like, I'm not proud of it, but like, there's be days I'd be like, oh, I can do 4 hours of sleep, knock out this gamer score. Like, it's not a way to live life. And again, at what point does it become a job instead of just like you having fun, enjoying your hobby? Like, that's why I play games. It's why I do the crazy gamer score shit. It's fun to me. At the same time, though, like, I don't want to neglect the rest of my shit. So, like, I do keep my PSP or my 3DS or a handheld next to my bed, because if I'm laying in bed and I'm too lazy to get up, I'll throw an hour or two on that just to like keep the variety going. There's nothing wrong with, like, if you're able to do it, play multiple games, but I think bite-sized chunks personally works best for me. Like, I'm not going to pick a 100-hour RPG on my Switch, keep it next to the bed, and run a 100-hour RPG on my Xbox. That's crazy. That's
not happening.
I'm crazy, but not like that.
I think, like, for me, like, right now, this is the first time I've had my hand in so many games all at one time.
Yeah, you're usually really good about selecting one game, knocking it out.
And I just think that Red Man Sky, Red Dead Redemption, like, really just ruined that.
That'll be a mod soon, bro.
You know, like, and I hate to say, you know, Red Dead Redemption 2 in a negative light, because it's a good game.
Oh, it's funny. We've talked about this. We've had completely different experiences.
And I don't have a problem with the game, other than the pacing of the story. I have a problem with how I played it and how that affected me as a player. That's completely changed how I look at things.
Yeah.
And it changed it like for a negative.
Do you wish
it was
you
a
could go
very
back
negative.
and do it differently?
I do, but now if I'm thinking about that in that aspect, I may have never finished it.
Yeah.
I think I may have dropped it. And I don't know which one is a better option.
Yeah, that's
I don't know,
right?
Because like I also have that mindset of if I don't play enough of a game or complete a game, then my opinion about that game doesn't really matter if I haven't experienced it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like someone playing a game through has a little more weight to an opinion about it as a whole than someone who's played it for 20 minutes.
Definitely. That's transparency why we try to complete the game. Sometimes we get stuck when we do the
Right.
episodes, but like we sit here and we try, y'all. We try.
And it's like I have a hard time like having a conversation with someone about a game who they've like, well, I played it for 20 minutes. And I'm like, but you've missed the last like 50 hours of the game and you think it's bad. Yeah. You know, some games do take a couple hours to get going. Red Man Sky. Red Dead Redemption 2 took 5-6 hours to really get out of that slump in the beginning.
Whole prologue.
It's rough.
It's 3 hours minimum.
It's rough.
Yeah.
And like
slow.
sometimes it takes that. And I think a lot of people dropped off. Nate said he dropped off because of that. And to me, like not being able to get through that first couple hours, I can't have an opinion about the rest of the game. I don't know how it is. I've got no idea.
That's a good point.
So now I have an opinion about my experience through that whole game, but knowing that if I had played it with multiple games now and dropped it, I don't know if that's better. Then I would say I would say Red Dead Redemption 2, its pacing is so bad that I couldn't even finish.
I think it's like perspective and setting is everything. Because for like me, I think it's one of the best games ever made. But my experience with it was like Sherry sat down next to me and she was like, this is great. This is like watching a movie I don't have to put much thought into. And she never played a minute of it. And she's like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. And it is a slow game, right? That's what I kind of told her. I'm like, hey, don't expect it's not going to be just shootouts the whole fucking time. Like, it's a very slow, narrative-driven game. Which I knew
love,
getting into.
I love narrative games, and like now that it...
When we look at the first one.
Right, I love the first game.
Right, it's a
the
different
first game
game
is
than
a
the
perfect
first game.
length.
Yeah.
Perfect length. But it poses the question of like, would I have a full-bodied opinion about Red Dead Redemption 2 if I didn't get to that last portion?
Yeah, my opinion is no, honestly.
And then that's hard for me to talk about a game and liking it or not liking it. And I think a great example is something like Last of Us 2.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much the first game, but more so the second game.
Definitely the second
because
game.
its pacing and its storytelling is so different that if you do not experience this game full entirely, you will not understand it at all. Even people who did play the whole game don't fucking understand it.
I was going to say, if you don't get to the end of that game, it drastically changes everything about
Your complete understanding. Yeah. Like, and you know, if you haven't watched The Last of Us 2 making of documentary, it is very interesting. Especially if you've never completed the game, I think it's really good to watch to kind of see that full circle of what you missed. But having that understanding of... I personally think the game should have ended when Ellie and Dina were in the house. Mm-hmm. And they finally got to the house. Yeah. And they finally got their happy ending, right? That's where everyone naturally wants a game, like something to end. But now, I was making fucking notes just like you too.
I'm doing the Discord, yeah.
but then right after that, there's kind of like that epilogue where she goes, because she can't let go of the revenge she needs against Abby, that she goes on this whole extra couple hour arc. That whole epilogue was painful for me to play. Because I was like, why is it still going? It needs to end. Why are we still going? And having that realization, like listening to a developer saying like, why is this circle of violence still going? When does it end? Like you experience that playing it, where it's like, you're asking the question, why didn't it end here? And they're posing that question of that was the point of the game. You know, like, why didn't it end there?
That payoff where she's sitting there strumming and you can just see it in her eyes. She realizes, like, I'm not done.
Can't play.
I can't just pretend like this is it.
Right,
like,
she can't. Whew. And then it rolls back to the same thing where now she can't even experience what she wanted.
When I first played it, I was like, man, this is bullshit, blah, blah. I didn't like it. I wasn't as vocal as the rest of the fucking online community, but there's definitely things I didn't like. And then you were talking about the developer thing, and I was like, holy shit, I get it now.
There's that game to me.
That shit changes everything.
Right, like I'm not... And you don't need... That's the problem, though, is you shouldn't need the developer telling
Yeah.
you how to.
I agree. I hate
absorb the
hand-holding
game.
narratives, bro. Like, I think it's awesome that they left it kind of open-ended, and
But
you have to be smart to figure it out.
Right.
I wasn't at one point.
I think what they were trying to explain of what they wanted with the game, I saw it was executed in the exact way they wanted.
Yeah.
And that's what I got from it, right? But without that complete through, you would have never gotten that understanding of their intention with the game of it is an endless circle of violence.
Yes.
When is it going to stop and who chooses to stop it?
Yep.
And are we going to do this again? And are we going to do it again? And are we going to do it again? And that's one of those instances where it's like a perfect example of you needing to complete a game to get it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Maybe the difference between that game is I didn't want to put it down. So like,
Yeah.
I think it's a case by case sometimes.
It's definitely case by case, because even that game, like, I love the first one. Gameplay wise for 2, I was like, man, it's kind of more the same.
I don't know. Last of Us 2 is like,
but the narrative
one of the
kept
best
me going,
narrative.
though. Yeah, the narrative what kept me going.
The gameplay, it's okay. It's not like
it's very similar to the first one. That was my biggest argument with the game. Is like, man, this doesn't feel next step.
Yeah, I think mechanically there's a lot of games
Naughty Dog
that
always plays it safe,
do.
bro. Like, I love Uncharted, but they play it safe as fuck, bro.
In Uncharted, they did, yeah. No, Last of Us 2, they did not. They did not at all. And also, I mean, the leaks didn't really help.
No.
The leaks didn't help at all. But that game, I think, narratively, is probably the best told story I've ever played. I'm trying to think of a better game that has a better...
See, like me,
executed
Red
narrative.
Dead 2, I cried bits the whole time. It's funny that we had such different experiences with Red Dead 2, because that's the thing, man. Like, I didn't really like it. Ain't gonna be as good as the first one. There's no fucking way. Like, the first one's top 3 for me all time. And then like, who's this Arthur guy? Why should I give a fuck about him? By the end of it, I was like, Sherry and I both were crying, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is crazy how a lot of these things, even like just experiencing a game, picking which game's next, what works for you, what doesn't. It's all very personal experience. And that's why at the beginning of the episode, I was like, this is what works for me. Doesn't mean you have to do it this way. But it is interesting, man. Interesting little tidbits.
I will say the caveat to that is because someone put a game down doesn't mean that they don't have an opinion.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the like line you have to walk where it's like, okay, if someone admittedly say, hey, I really only played 20 minutes of that game, so I can't say much. Fair.
Yeah.
If they say I played 20 minutes game and I know how it would go, debatable, but sometimes there is a pattern where you can say this is kind of going to be the same thing over and over and over again. Same deal. But also don't have that mindset of like you are allowed an opinion only when you finish it. Because then if you're forcing yourself to finish that game to allow yourself an opinion, you're going to hate it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I saw, when looking up just how other people deal with their backlog and trying to comparing and contrasting for this episode, there was a guy that's like, a lot of people out there say you have to beat it, complete it, whatever you want to word it. He's like, for me, when I feel like I've accomplished everything that the game's going to offer mechanically, from narrative, however you want to word it, he was like, that's when if I'm not enjoying myself, that's when I stop. He's like, even if I don't think I'm going to like it, and it's only been 3 hours, if I feel like I'm going to get more mechanics or I'm going to get more of this, I stop if I don't like it. And it's like, you don't know when that's going to be unless you're playing with a guide, but okay, it's an interesting take though.
I now as an adult have understood I suffer from sunk cost fallacy like so badly.
What's that?
Sunk cost fallacy is this idea that like you've invested so much time into it, you need to see it through.
Oh yeah.
And some people, and it's different.
Gamer score.
It's different with different media for me for some reason, but like with TV shows, like let's talk about the 100, right? I remember watching the 100. I really enjoyed probably the first and second season, and then it got bad. The show got bad. I think they only had like 6 seasons, 4 or 5. I can't even remember how many seasons. But I just kept watching the show because I felt obligated to see it through because they'd already invested so much time into it. And so I was wasting my time, sunk cost, finishing this out, even though I wasn't enjoying it, because I was like, well, I have to finish it. I've already, like, the idea of like, well, I've already ate 80% of this pizza. I need to finish the pizza. Otherwise I'm wasting my time. Or I'm wasting my money on the pizza I bought, right? When you could just not eat the pizza if you don't like the pizza. I don't know. Like, that's the kind of idea.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And it's less I'm not super into movies, but I can't even long format, I can't stop myself. I have to finish it.
Yeah.
And now I'm discovering I don't need to. But with movies, like, if I get like an hour in and I'm like, man, I am not, I'll stop watching it. I don't care that much. So now I'm trying to shift that to like other things.
I think it's harder with video games though, because there's no other medium like video games, right? You're controlling it. You're still getting emotions, your narratives. There was a guy on YouTube, but God, I wish I could remember his video. It was really good. He was talking about kind of the similar experience where he's like, it's worse with games because you get frustrated. Like if you're playing a hard game and you get stuck and you're not having fun, you can just turn a movie off. You can just be like, space out, get on your phone in a movie. Video game, you're stuck doing it. And it's like, well, are you really stuck, pal? Like, I'm not going to torture myself. But at the same time, I'm very much a point where it's like, I want to experience everything. There's been episodes we've done for this podcast where it's like, you know, Rule of Rose, and I can think of more. I know there's more.
What were we
weren't
like
having
suffered?
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I wasn't doing this podcast, there's no way in fuck I would put myself through that, dude. You know what I mean?
Well, there's also a lot of games that were shows that I wouldn't have even started.
Yeah.
Which
I mean, there's also the flip side. There's plenty of games on my backlog that we've gone through. It's like, oh, I finally get to play this. Sick.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting mindset of like some of the choices that we do for this also is I choose games that I know I'm going to enjoy, and either I have enjoyed them because I want to share them, or I know they will be enjoyable. And then some of y'all's choices, I'm like, you guys like these games?
Some of these, I'm like, let's see if this is any good. I've heard both.
That's so funny.
Yeah, there's a lot of choices, man, but I think that's a good little segue into the next thing is like, get creative with your backlog, man. Like, don't stay in your comfort zone. I think the easiest thing people do is they have a comfort game that they run back to. Like, Nate will play a sports game because he's comfortable with it. I used to jump into Call of Duty because it's like, whatever, I can just set my brain to neutral.
It's like your palate cleanser. Yeah.
It's like, I'm comfortable here. I don't have to sit there and stress about picking my next game where I just, you know, left trigger, right trigger the whole time.
That's funny. I don't have a palate cleanser.
Man. You don't?
It's
you don't
anime.
have like one you go back. I was about to say, if you have one you go back to constantly, or like Black Desert's another good one. It's like, I could just fish, you know, or...
Now, that's an interesting thought, too, because, like, I'm very different in that, where I don't have a palate cleanser game that I go back to.
You.
I don't really replay games unless they have multiplayer, and then I'm only replaying that game because I'm playing with somebody else. But I don't replay games. So if I'm burnt out or I just can't really get into games, I shift that palate cleanser to a different media.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it for collecting, where it's like you're kind of getting burnt out on game collecting, we're going to shift to comics. Yeah. And now comics have gotten too saturated, we've shifted to toys.
Sure.
Like, that's what I do in my media, is when I get burnt out, I shift over to anime, and then I'll just sit there and watch anime.
Have you tried
and just,
that
like,
with, like, different genres for games?
It doesn't matter. It's that idea of, like, sitting down and actively, like, interacting with something that I just don't want to interact with it. And Makes sense. with TV shows, and it doesn't have to be anime, mine's just anime, because it's easy to, there's a million Gundams I can watch. Yes. So I just throw on
Finding
Gundam.
That out.
I'll just throw on Gundam and, you know, eat my pistachios. I don't have to do anything, right? So then once I've gone through that so many times, I get that itch where I'm like, okay, right. I want to interact with my media now. And so then I'll go to a game where I can interact with it.
It's cool.
So...
See, it's almost like a blessing and a curse. And I think I'm here to bash more fucking free-to-play live service bullshit. That's how they get you, man. They're like, you got to stay up with it. And why not? What's it hurt? Like, the whole... If you want to clear your backlog, stay the fuck away from live service games. Like, I fell victim to it. I think everybody does with just the modern age. But, like, when Modern Warfare...
We don't play them all at the same time.
Right. When Modern Warfare 2 came out, I was like, hey, this is the first Call of Duty I've loved in years. Like, I'm going to keep playing it. And I was like, I had to get all the passes, and I did. You know, I don't want to think about how much I fucking spent.
You guys are the ones who got me to play Call of Duty. I did not play Call of Duty. Though.
You did it the right way.
I said I'm
got
not.
it for fucking free, and it was fun.
First off, yeah, I did tell Brian. I said, Brian, I'll play Call of Duty if you buy it for me, and he did.
So
he bought it for me.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's like you did it the right way. You just jumped in a couple games, had fun. You know, and it's like
I never bought a season pass until Spawn.
Yeah,
never.
But like looking back, I'm like, why did I do this to myself, man? Especially now, the shit doesn't carry over. Like, fuck live service
right,
games,
it doesn't carry over. You invested all that time, and at the same time, you were trying to also do it with Fortnite.
Yeah.
You were also trying to do it with achievement games.
Yeah.
There was no room to play anything else.
And
for
again,
fun.
like, what point does it feel like a fucking job?
Right.
You know? Like, even last night, I bought the season pass for Marvel Rivals, but I'm like, I got the first page done from the little bit we played.
You got the one skin you wanted.
And if I don't get it, I'm not going to fucking cry about it. Like, it was $5, boo-hoo. I'm not going to do that to myself again with these fucking games. Like, I haven't bought a single thing for Black Ops 6. They can eat my ass, dude, with a spoon. Get in there deep. Chug away. I don't care. I'm not fucking doing it. But, like, the idea of like you have to invest these times and shit, don't do it, man. Like if it's not fun, we're going back to that. Don't fucking do it. I'm not going to do this myself ever again. I promise you. It's fucking crazy.
Don't give in to FOMO.
No, dude, for sure. Like just enjoy your games, have fun with it. Variety is the spice of life for me too. There's been times where it's like, great example, I'm stuck on Call of Duty and it's like, I know I'm falling back into my comfort game. So I sit there and look at my shelf. I'm like, what can I play to get out of this little funk? I start freaking the fuck out. You know me pretty well where it's like, I'm not organized. I'm very much at crimes where I'm not organized and I want to be really bad, but like I want things to be a specific way. Mm-hmm. If it's not that way, I automatically panic and shut down.
I understand.
Yeah. So like my game shelf, it's literally by release date, it's by console, release date, and then alphabeticalized, right? So it's like Atari's first, ColecoVision second, right. Whatever. It's in that order, but it's alphabetical. So I was watching a video of this guy. He's like, what I do is like you were saying, I pick a system I want. It's like, I know I want to play something on Super Nintendo. I go through that. I start at the A's. I pick one game out from the A's and basically make it like a versus against the B.
And then you vibe it out.
Yeah. So like, it's fun. There's people that come up with like games they play to pick what next game they're playing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that sounds kind of interesting, man. Like there was one guy said he treats it like fantasy football where him and his friends get together on their Discord and they make a list of like, pick 10 games from Backlog. Any 10.
I was literally about to say, do you want to end it with us picking 3 games from each other's inventories that we need to play in 2025?
That'd be so fun, dude.
All right.
But even like doing this podcast, it's a fun way for us to get through our backlog, right? Mm-hmm. But you at home, you could be like, let me get with my friends. I like the fantasy football thing. That's pretty fun. They literally shuffle the list and then they give them somebody else and like pick 3 games based on what you think they might like. Mm-hmm. Or like, what did you have fun playing? Maybe you can share that same experience. That's what we do here. Like
I use the randomize button sometimes.
Ooh, I don't know if I could do it, man.
I do. I'll sit there and I'm like, I don't really know what I want. And I'll hit the random button and it'll shuffle and just give me a game. And I'll look at it and I'm like, let me hit the random button again.
Right. See, that's the thing. You have the
I don't
self-control.
commit to it. I don't commit to it like it's a rule. But it's kind of like jump starting like me thinking about it. Because maybe I'll hit that random button, right? And I'll see a game and then it'll make me think of something else that I've been wanting to play. And I'll go, oh, I wanted to go play that game. And I end up not even picking the randomized game, but it helped trigger something to get me to another point.
See, I panic, man. I'm not going to lie. I look at my shelf sometimes and I'm like, but the old process for me, it worked really, really well because I was getting through my fucking games and I was actually playing them. It can't work now, dude. Like,
it is hard for me.
The randomizer thing would be great because it's like, if you can't say no to it, but then again, I don't want to be stuck playing a game I don't want to play.
You don't have to say no to it.
Exactly.
Or you don't have to say yes.
The more you live your life,
it's not like
the way you want, the better this goes. Like, I'm not going to sit there and force myself to play some of these fucking games I know I don't want to play that I have on my shelf. Like, perfect example, I'm going through a complete original Xbox collection, right? I played some fucking slop on there when I was starting early because I was like, I'm going to play everything too. Like, I love RoboCop. That RoboCop game is fucking ass. And I sit there and suffered for 8 hours playing that shit. But I did it. And I don't want to put myself through that anymore, man. Like, life's short. Play the shit you like. I think there's nothing wrong with making an educated decision. Again, use your tools, man. Like, I think How Long to Beat's a great idea. Just Game Eyes, like we said, is doing it. You can always say no just to go over some of the things we talked about again. Don't pigeonhole yourself into one little tiny game or one little narrative. Get creative, get comfortable, and the biggest thing is, man, like, just enjoy yourself, dude. Again, this is your fucking hobby. You do this for a reason. You don't do this to sit there and torture yourself, man. Mm-hmm. So what do you guys think? I hope some of these tips and conversations kind of help you on your backlog journey. All right, let's have some shit fun. How are we gonna do this?
All right, so we looked at each other's game collection. And we picked 2 games out of there that we want the other person to play from their own library. And then we chose 1 game from our personal library that we would want them to play in 2025 at some point.
This might turn into some future Is It Worth It episodes.
All right, Brian, what do you have for me to play?
My first game I picked for you, and it's one near and dear to the podcast's heart because we found it together. And I gotta know about this game. I just haven't pulled it off my shelf yet. It's Finny the Fish.
Bro, you already know we're both gonna play this game.
Oh yes,
Finny the Fish.
I got a feeling this one's eventually gonna turn into something for our content.
Okay.
But yeah, man, I gotta know about this game. I got to know.
Yeah. So
we both own it. So if it turns into like, bro, you gotta play this shit. Easy fix, brother. What was your first one for me?
My first one, I don't know. You may have played this, but it is the precursor to a game that I know you like.
Interesting.
The precursor to Nier, Drakengard.
I've not played it.
You've not played Drakengard?
I have it.
I have played Drakengard, and it is not what I expected.
Really?
So Drakengard's my first one for you.
The only game I've played in the series, I've played two. I played the original Nier on 360, and then I played, well, I guess not the original, if you want to get technical. I played the Nier that's on 360, that's just called Nier.
Just called Nier, yeah.
And then Automata, 2B on PS4, the original release.
Okay.
All right, so my second game, what the fuck does this say? Oh, I love the original Xbox, and this is one I actually grew up playing and I really, really enjoyed. I'm sure it's just like a super 5 or 6 out of 10.
Great.
But it is an exclusive, so it's interesting.
I only own Xbox
I was shocked
exclusives.
you had it, and that's probably why you do have it. But Kingdom Under Fire Heroes.
You're surprised I own that?
Yeah.
It's a dude with a board and sword on the cover. Of course I own it.
It's just a little different, man. It's Xbox, I wanted to pick something that's I enjoyed playing it as a kid. I don't remember much about it, admittedly.
How many Kingdom Under Fire games are there? There's a couple.
There's a couple.
I think I have 2 or 3
As far as
of them.
exclusives, though, I don't think there's many.
Okay.
But yeah, I played it. I used to rent this one as a kid.
Really?
Played it. Yeah.
All right.
So I'm curious if it holds up. And it's original Xbox. Got to give it some love,
Okay.
We got to get you on the Xbox bandwagon.
All right, my second...
Like, what the fuck did you pick this? It's a 6.
I was like, what? So here's the thing, though. My second pick for you may have to look up because I don't know if you're going to even understand what I'm saying.
Oh, God.
It is a 28 on Metacritic.
Oh, my God.
It's called Sneakers.
Oh, God. The Toys R Us exclusive Xbox game. Yes,
Sneakers.
I'm familiar with this one.
I wasn't sure if it would trigger it until you saw it.
Unfortunately, it's got the mice with the shoes on the cover.
Yes, it looks terrible.
Oh no, it's supposed to be. I've never actually played it. I think I have 2 copies of it because I have like one of the. I have like a really clean copy, and I've got one with like the Microsoft employee sticker on it or whatever.
Okay. Which
is funny because it's a Toys R Us exclusive game. So how the fuck did you get that? That's why I kept the sticker on there. But yeah, I'm very familiar with Sneakers. Unfortunately,
Sneakers.
Original Xbox exclusive. I've never played.
I saw it and I said, we gotta play it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, have you ever seen like gameplay?
No, I don't. I've never seen it until I saw it.
I just remember it chugs and it looks like shit. Like
I just
good
saw.
Pick.
I scrolled down your list and I was like, what is this Xbox game with mice wearing shoes called Sneakers? And then I saw it was a 28 on Metacritic and I said, oh yeah, I'm picking it.
Oh, it's infamous amongst the original Xbox community. Great pick because my collection's literally like the top 10 best games and like the bottom 200 worst games.
Isn't that the library?
Love it, dude. Pretty much, dude. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Great pick, man. The one from your library, right?
Yeah, the last one is the one from your.
Okay, so the last
you own.
Right, the last one I picked. I screenshot it so I won't forget. Whoops.
Did you not write it down?
I wrote the backup down. All right, so this one, I think it's a great 2-player game. I don't know if you've ever played the series, and it's kind of like, it's not anime, but it kind of leads into the little subsect.
A 2-player game, sort of anime.
It's usually a PlayStation exclusive, but it has branched out to other consoles. So you ready?
Okay.
Earth Defense Force 4.1.
Oh, okay.
Shadow of, you ever play any of the Earth Defense Force games?
I haven't played any of them, but...
So here's the thing. They're not great games by any stretch of the means, but they are fun as shit. And if you have a buddy to play with, split screen or online or whatever, dude, what?
Yeah, I don't own any of those.
It's one of those games where it's like if you're playing with somebody, it's a completely different experience by yourself. It will put your ass asleep by yourself, but with a buddy, it's a hilarious night.
Playing it with me.
Oh yeah, it's one that which one came out on 360? I literally bought it on a whim at Blockbuster because it was like $7, and I was like, I know nothing about this game or franchise. And now I have them all because like I love this series. It's just ridiculous. There's like giant bugs that come and you gotta just blast them, and it's like over the top. And
is it a tactical strategy game?
Oh hell no!
I
It's
thought
literally
it was
hold the
this
trigger
whole
and
time.
spray, bro.
Really?
Dude,
okay.
It's the most brain dead. Like does not take itself serious at all. The dubs are horrible.
Okay.
Like it totally knows exactly what it is, and it leans very heavily into it.
All right. Well, that game is on the look for today.
Hell yeah!
Go out.
Hell yeah, dude! It's one I used to play with Nate, and like we would just come over and be like, whenever we're having a bad day, like he gets an argument with his girlfriend or I do or something. It's like, you want to play EDF and just like feel good about ourselves. Like, it's a blast, man.
All right, my pick for you is so far outside your realm that I don't think you would have ever played it on your own.
Okay.
It's really long.
Oh, well, it's one of your games. No way.
Yeah, it's really long. But Xenoblade Chronicles.
Oh yeah, I've never played it.
The Switch. Don't play the Wii one. Play the Switch one.
The first one?
It's like a remaster.
Okay, that's why I was thinking. Yeah.
Better graphics and everything.
Nice.
But Xenoblade Chronicles 1.
Interesting. It's like mechs and stuff, though, right? Like
it is. They live on the dead bodies of giant mech gods, basically.
Interesting.
We'll
I've heard really good things about the game. I know you loved it, and I've seen other people
yeah.
talk about and rave about it.
So Xenoblade Chronicles.
Isn't 2 coming out recent on Switch?
3 is the one that came out last year?
Something's
the year
coming out
before
recently,
that?
right? They announced something, I thought.
For Xenoblade?
Wasn't it like a Wii U Xenoblade that's coming to the Switch?
Oh, yeah. Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Okay. What's that one? 3?
That one is the one with that big mech.
Yeah, he's like blue.
Yeah, that one is completely different than these ones. It's
so
not.
What did this one first come out on?
Wii.
It's the GameStop exclusive one with the sword?
Yes, it's the new 3DS.
Gotcha.
New 3DS is where it came out.
Now I'm familiar with this game. Sorry.
Wii.
My brains are scrambled eggs. I'm sorry.
The fabled bring it over here.
Wanted to pick up and never did because it was scalped all the hell.
Shulk from Smash.
Right. Okay, interesting. Yeah, check it out.
So I mean, I don't think you'd ever play it on your own volition.
It's one I've been looking for, but it's like I don't want to pay for, if that makes sense.
Well, you can borrow mine.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Awesome.
But those are my picks.
Get creative, y'all. It's fun. Like, for real. It's a good way to blow through some games. Like, and now Barry gets to experience Earth Defense Force.
Yep. And then we have to write a full dissertation inside of the Discord.
I was going to, like, sauce you up and be like, I know we're both really into mechs right now and Gundam, Steel Battalion, Heavy Armor. but I actually like you, so I'm not going to do that to you. All right, guys. But yeah, what do you think? Like, use these tools. Like, let us know in the Discord if you got any more helpful hints to get through your backlog. What's next? What's next,
Brian?
What's next, me? Yeah, the order's all messed up. That's right.
It'll be messed up forever now.
Yeah, I know.
It's okay.
No, there's a will, there's a way, right, Goku? Next game. Is it worth it?
Last episode of the year?
Last episode of the year. We're sticking with this comic books and superhero theme. Marvel Ultimate Alliance Gold Edition, because there's a vast difference in price between the normal and the Gold Edition. And is it worth it? This is a game we both played, we both enjoy. Is that Gold Edition worth that price tag? I guess we'll just have to wait and see, huh?
Find out next time.
On the Collecti-Bros podcast.
We won't be doing a Christmas episode this year just because of a time constraint, but we will be doing a 2024 wrap-up. 2025 coming soon.
That should be a good one. We've got we teased it, fuck it. We got some fun shit planned in the pipeline.
Yeah, we do.
So, be
sure
to
talk about it.
Yeah, there's a lot to go over this year and in the upcoming future. Should be interesting. So, with that being said, y'all, thank you for listening. If you're listening on any of the podcasts, we appreciate you. If you're watching on YouTube, it's still crazy to me that people actually give a shit about this and listen to it. Like, it's enjoyable that other people enjoy the same things we do.
Two people sitting on the floor in Brian's basement.
Yeah, literally. And I can't say enough, guys. I appreciate the support, and I'm glad you enjoy the content and just seeing other gamers really dig it. That's what this is about for me, man. Like, not to get all sappy at the end, but I enjoy making content. I found that out, that I really enjoy creating shit with my friends. So the fact that other people give a shit, I can't thank y'all enough, man. So tune in if you keep digging this shit, or don't. Drop it like a bad game. I don't care either way.
Hit us up in the Discord if you want to play Marvel Rivals.
Yes, we'll be on that. I'm slightly addicted. It's fine. Talking about don't play fucking
what
live service games, and here I am playing a live service game.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But thank you guys. Appreciate it. Crash, Batman Beyond, blah blah blah. Thank you guys.
Smash like button, glass, shatter.
Yep. Thank
gamers.
you all. Bye, gamers.